Okay, we are sitting here officially with C Money, the number one sales rep in the business as of right now, and the undefeated champion month to month. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to get right into this bad boy, okay? What do you think is the difference maker from you to just any other sales rep? Not just in this company, but in general.
Time put in, hours put into training. I don't know. There's a lot of factors. Pretty likable guy.
Okay, so charismatic. How do you actually build? Like, what even is that? What is being charismatic? Like, what does that even mean?
I mean, we framed it before as like being a chameleon. Like you can talk to anyone and
The ability to blend in.
mesh with anyone. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to some 50-year-old hard ass or a 80-year-old frail woman. I can
I got you.
be best friends with them.
I got you. Okay, cool. And so when you say time put in, like what does your typical schedule look like as a top closer?
Very rare that I have a day off during the week. Maybe an evening off per week. I get in the office early, do an hour of either trades learning or sales training in the morning before anyone gets to the office consistently, and then from pretty much 9 a.m. on, I'm building quotes and with the guys, and all we talk about is sales and selling and building quotes and everything like that, game planning for our appointments. And then 4 p.m. to usually 7 p.m., I'm running appointments, first appointments usually throughout the week, just measuring and building relationships with the client before the closing. And then back at the office usually for 8 p.m. Depends on the day. Sometimes we have a sales meeting. Other times I got to stay late to build quotes.
Yeah, and for everyone out there too, we do run a 2-appointment system.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to describe that? What's that like?
So how we go about selling renovations is first appointment, the estimator or rep goes and measures out the home, sees what the client needs, builds a relationship, tries to build as much trust as possible with them, because typically they're meeting with at least 2 other companies, so you got to outwork them in that aspect. And then at the first appointment, you set up a second appointment where you just let them know it'll take me however long to build the quote. I can fit you in my schedule to come by with a quote on this day. And then in between then, you build the quote. And then before the second appointment, there's pre-closing. So we send them reference lists. We send them all of our socials for them to look through in between the first and the second pre-close call, where we let them know that we're going to try and sell them something, make sure they're prepared to make a decision. Mm-hmm. And then second appointment, you rerun through the project, make sure do you feel this is exactly what you're looking for? And then you go in price presentation, and then that triggers objection handling. Usually, if you do the prior steps right, there shouldn't be much objection handling because you should have blown everyone out of the water by then. But that's what we do in the training. We handle all the common, I need to think about it, talk to the wife, which we cover because we make sure both decision makers are always there. Mm-hmm. Other ones, budget, price objection is the main one because you're selling very high ticket things, trying to get people to sign on the day. So,
of course. And we also do, like, we run up the numbers a little bit here too, right? Like, we're not selling just like 20K things, you know, like we've closed some whales, like 100K plus, you know what I mean? So how are those situations, those 100K plus, how are those situations different than, let's just say, a $20,000 bathroom? And what do you think is easier?
Honestly, I've had tough people in the high, like real high, and I've had tough people on $5,000 projects because everyone's situation's different. My biggest thing is I just treat everyone the same. It doesn't matter if they've told me they have a $10,000 budget for a $30,000 project. It doesn't matter if they told me a $50,000 budget for an $80,000 project. For all I know, they're bluffing, and they're just trying to get me as low as possible. In my opinion, though, the people who are actually contacting companies to get big projects done, they're serious about it, and they're prepared they've probably been thinking about it for years, saving for it for years, and they can grasp that it's going to be a 6-figure project. Following up and like putting the detail in and showing them what goes into that $100,000 is a big thing. But I mean, I've sold, like $100,000 to $200,000 projects within, the first 2 appointments. So
cool. And so who are you actually watching? Like, how are you gaining these skills?
While I am very lucky to have yourself to teach me, Justin Georgopoulos, shout out Trade Launch, huge helpers. Those are like who I treat as like who I'm going to problems with first. And then there's all the online people. Alex Hermosi breaks things down to a science. Andy Frisella. There's a few other ones that I wouldn't even know their name off the top of my head, but they just interview high inputting business people, and they just spit straight game for a 3-hour interview. Put that on.
What was that podcast up there you had the other day? That was a crazy one. Who hosts that?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking about where I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But
I don't know. That's a great podcast.
I've watched probably 6 episodes, and they're all like 1.5 to 3 hours long. Blows my mind every time, and he breaks it down to like how to control framing conversations, scaling stuff. Like I have 24 quotes in my office just from that podcast that I look at every day. So it is, and it's time invested, right? Like you got to use your time. Like I try and stay away from Netflix and all those like scrolling as best as I can. It's still very hard. You're young and you're kind of used to that. But
well, I was gonna say, and we always say here, like if you're on a professional sports team, you're practicing double, if not triple, what you're actually playing a game, right?
Yeah.
So that needs to be the same. Like sales is one of the most highly competitive sports in the world, so you got to treat it as such, which means that requires a lot of practice so that when you go into a game, you're fully prepared both mentally and knowledgeable on what you're speaking about.
Yeah, and that's what we do is like training for worst case scenario with these appointments and objection handling. And then when you overcome one objection and you don't have to deal with 5 in a row, like how we train, then it's like, oh, that was easy. And it, really puts it into frame of.
Did you have anybody that you looked up to as a kid?
Some like family friends that were business owners that kind of showed me like, okay, that it can be done. None that like really like stick out of like famous people. Really, like I always wanted to be a lawyer, so like I always looked up if I ever met a lawyer, like I'd be like, man, you're the shit. A few other, like I was very lucky to like be surrounded by some very successful people while I was growing up, but that just showed me that it's possible to do that. And it's a perfect balance of like not like idolizing these people, because you shouldn't have idols, but just role models of like, if you know a business owner, just pay attention to how they act. And
I always go back, like it's so crazy to me that you were literally like enrolled in school to start the path of becoming a lawyer.
Yeah.
And obviously you remember it, but down on that whiteboard, man. Whiteboard was crazy, bro.
It was crazy. It was probably like a 6-month sale by you of like the first time you mentioned, like try to sell me on like fuck school. And I was so attached to that idea of being a lawyer. Like I had that on my home screen, Stewart Law, and I stared at it every day for a very long time. Ever since I was like grade 3 of those sheets that the teachers would pass out to you of like, what's your dream job? It was always a lawyer.
What did you actually think? So like, because I remember we're literally sitting in my mom's basement.
Yeah.
Like before we had any of this stuff that we have now. And I'm literally on this little ass whiteboard and I'm just drawing out the crazy numbers and the potential that there is to make as a sales rep, you know what I mean, in a business. What was actually going through your mind when you were actually in that moment realizing what was going on?
I don't think I ever thought like, man, this guy's like fucking crazy. Like, get me out of here. Like it was like a constant like push and pull of like, I know you were just like spitting straight facts, like breaking down like 7 years of my life where I'm going to be making next to donuts. And in that 7 years of what I could do here. And I just was like, and what really sold me is that I knew I loved door to door. I loved talking to people. I loved the training we do, the culture that we had, and it was like, I don't even know if I love law. Like almost every lawyer I've ever spoken to is like kick rocks. Like the project that I just sold to the partner, the managing partner, it was like $157,000 project. And she was like, yeah, you're like, good for you for not going through all that, because she's not like happy with work. Like she's constantly busy. She's can't retire because she's so embedded into her firm. And you always hear about lawyers working around the clock. And if you're working around the clock, you better hope that you love it. And that's why I knew I would have a better chance working around the clock and loving what I do, sales, and not wanting to just go home all the time, which I just sit here out of my own enjoyment. And
so especially because you've actually seen the culture that we have in the business develop over the last year and a bit, 2 years, like what has that been like for you? Do you think, have you noticed any like massive shifts in the culture? Did you notice that in the beginning it was a little less than it is and now it's like more? Or
yeah, like, and it shows in the contracts too, like our like expectations in the contracts. Like I remember before, like estimating was like the first contract that I ever looked of estimating. It was like, oh, you need to be available like for meetings 2 times a week. You need to be like mostly available to take appointments and stuff. And now it's like, it's your life. I think the really cool thing about like building the culture that I was with you the whole entire way was the office culture of like, as soon as you brought me on estimating, you're like, man, like get an office, that's a tax write-off, like you can just pay for it. And it was a no-brainer because I had all these business owners around me. So I was like, this is my education. And then we got the big office and like people were rolling into the office. We had like 10 door-to-door guys in that room over there. And then that's when I was like, okay, it's pretty crazy. And now we have guys sitting in here not even making hourly, all commission-based, and they just want to be here. And now there's more guys that are dropping out of school, like guys and girls that are considering not going to school. And it's like crazy because I was the first one to make that leap, and now it kind of shows to the other guys that it's possible, right? So.
Well, I remember too, like when we were actually putting out ads for door-to-door reps again. Do you remember when I posted that Facebook post where it was like I posted it in the neighbors,
groups,
yeah, in the groups, but I was literally saying like no drugs and alcohol, must hit the gym 3 times a week, this and that. And I remember this one kid that I had reached out to from that post. First of all the kids that answered that post, fucking nails. Like they were all good kids. And like if you see a post like that where it's like you must do this, right? You must do that. That's a certain type of person that it takes to reach out.
Yeah.
But there was one guy in specific, and he basically was just like, how as a business owner can you tell me how to run my personal life? And I'm like, dude, I absolutely can't. But I'm saying if you're not willing to follow the rules and you're not willing to adapt to the culture, you're not going to be allowed in. Yeah. I'm just not going to hire you. That's what's going to happen.
Simply.
Like you can't get into the fucking Ferrari club without a Ferrari, you know? Like you got to have, and you got to be able to put up, you know what I mean, to get into that club.
Yeah.
So I operate like the same way. We operate the same way. We don't let anybody in here unless they're going to fit the culture.
Yeah.
Because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing when like me and you are discussing like bringing on more people. It's like, especially because I'm like, I'll be training them, especially if they're estimators. It's like if I am with you for 30 to 60 days straight, giving you all this knowledge, and then you don't like it in 3 months, like I'm going to be pissed. Like
of course.
I dedicated a lot of time into giving you this knowledge, and then you're just going to skate. So
well, and we've been very, very fortunate, honestly, because like just being on Trade Launch and coaching in Trade Launch, like I see a ton of businesses who put in a ton of time, money, and effort into hiring because they have such a high turnover rate. Where it's like especially now that you're basically hiring door-to-door reps on your own, it's like you're gonna bring in people that you actually want to be around all the time because you are gonna be around them all the time. And so that's what I always say. Like the number one thing that it comes down to with culture is number one, it starts with you, right? But I guess number two, would be you have to build the culture around the people that you want to be around. Not necessarily just because they have a really good skill here or a really good skill there. You have to be able to be around this guy fucking 18 hours a day.
And not want to...
And I want to strangle him.
Yeah.
You know? And so that is hard to find legit. Like, if you can be around somebody 18 hours a day, like, you guys must fucking mesh pretty damn well. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding those people.
Yeah, and I guess that's how I looked at it, because we had a few, like, duds as far as, like, door-to-door hires. And then I just looked at it. I was training all these door-to-door guys to do what I was doing at the time. But then I was like, if I just look around for, like, people I've known for a while that I trust will dedicate a good amount of time to this, or if they don't, they'll be honest enough to me to just be like, this isn't for me, instead of waste time. And that's what kind of built the team that we have now. And then we looked at it the other day. We were drawing it up on the board, and we were like we have one guy leaving, and the rest are staying. So, like, that turnover is, like, for me now to only have to look to replace one guy is, like, a game changer, because that's time saved in my eyes of not.
And imagine with a turnover rate, like, imagine you got to hire one a month or one every 2 months. Like, that is a lot of training. That's a lot of training that goes into that, right?
Yeah.
And especially just, like, due to the resources that we give these guys. You know, not only do I think it's a very high privilege to even be in the room with some of us, right? But not only that, it's the amount of training that we actually give these guys, right? They have full access to actual training, right? That costs money for most.
Yeah.
And you get free access to that. You also have access to, like, fucking studs all the time. You can come and ask anybody anything, you know? We're like a big ass family over here.
Yeah.
And, like, that alone is so hard to find. And I remember too, like, when I was actually building this thing, I just wanted so bad. Like, I remember literally praying, 18, 19 years old. I wanted so bad to have a workplace that I knew that I could go to and just fucking love.
Yeah.
Right? And then, like, sometimes now I almost forget, like, what it was like to pray about that and not even have it. But now we built it.
Yeah.
It's coming to fruition as we speak.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah, and it is crazy, like, how you, like, take it for granted, because, like, and that makes me think back to, like, my time, like, in restaurants and, like, these golf courses, and, like, I, like, wake up in the morning and I have to open this restaurant, and I'm like fuck this, like, this is not for me. And shout out to the people who do it for years and years and years. Like, that takes a
100%.
different type of person to work in that side of things, but, like, it really is, like, a privilege to, like, know what you want to do so early in life and actually love what you do. Love it every day. Love it enough that you don't want to take days off. And it's like, you know, stuff needs to get done, but you love getting stuff done. So it all lines up.
And I honestly think too, like, the people that we have multiple people that have came up to me privately and in front of other people that have been like, dude, I'm doing fucking life here. I'm doing a life sentence with you.
Yeah.
You know, and you're one of those guys, right? And so I want to know, because from a business owner perspective, not even from me, but for anybody watching this, you know, what does that actually take? Like, what actually brings somebody to say that and be like, dude, I'm 19 years old and I can literally see myself building this thing with you to fucking $1 billion company.
I think it's all how you, because you can see it. Like for me to toss one vision out the window because you've created this new vision, because, like, I had visions of, like, my last name on a building.
Totally.
Like, for my whole life. And now that's what I wanted. I want to be, like, up there, like, upper echelon. And then it took me a while to, like, throw it out the window. But I knew that what was sitting in front of me, like, and even my parents said it, like don't jump on the first opportunity that's kind of dangled in front of you. And I always say, like, why wouldn't I? I was like, the way I looked at it is that if I was on my deathbed or later on in life, I'm 50, 60 years old, and I chose to go another direction, and I look back and Powerhouse Construction is a $1 billion company, which I know it will be, I would, like, literally be stomping my feet. Like, I'd wake up in the morning and kick my feet because I'm like, what did you do?
And it's one thing too, like, I know you want to be a lawyer, right? And, like, what do good lawyers make realistically?
They
300,000, 400,000.
Yeah, majority. Like big law in Toronto, like they'll pull in like anywhere from 500 to a million.
Yeah,
But you're also like selling your soul to that firm, like you're
for sure.
and then you don't even know if you like that environment. Like that's a typical like office environment. Sure, it's like pretty high class, but you're still like going to the same office. You're tons of coworkers. You don't like some of the coworkers. You don't necessarily like your bosses. And that's what I didn't want is like I want someone who's my boss, but also doesn't treat me like a employee and like trust me and listens to me. And that's something like you showed me is like whenever I brought things up to you, like you listened and like nothing's off the table for you. Like it's like
No, I listen to everything.
everything. And it doesn't matter if you're a door-to-door guy, an estimator, a tools guy, like you listen to everyone and then solve accordingly. So that was a big thing. And then it was like as soon as I started estimating and like even when you were gone for a bit with your dad, I was like, man, like I'm like a big part in this. And it's like I'm want to build this and I know you've told me you're going to make me millions and I want to make you millions. And it's like, then that's a good piece to have. So.
And not only that, though, the cool thing about, and I understand, like, we are like no other construction company on planet Earth already, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, how do you think that your life would be different right now? Not only, obviously, what you're doing, but the people you're around, right? What you're doing with your life. How different do you think that really is?
Oh, like if I did not do this, like I would have, like one of the bigger motivations for me going to university was so I could like party my little butt off. And I knew I would get sucked into that just because I know how I am. It's like I would have spent the whole year partying, going out probably 4 or 5 times a week, drinking while I'm doing schoolwork. Like I know that's just what I do. And then that would have triggered the same thing come this September if I was going back to school. And I would have been making $18 an hour working some bullshit, probably golf course job, playing tons of golf, getting drunk. And then it's like, it just gives you a whole different set of priorities of like, sure, yeah, I'll still go out and I'll have some drinks, but it's like not even close to the point that it would have been if I went to school. So,
and I would say too, like I've noticed big time, like just that you as a person have matured a lot in the last year.
A year, like it's crazy, like
a lot.
And a lot of people, like people I haven't seen in a bit, like they're like word gets around and like that's whatever. But like if people actually sit down and have a conversation with me now, like it's like they don't even recognize me for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you've only been doing this for a year, and you already had fucking some dude was like, "Yo, I want to sit down with you and pick your brain about shit." Like that's fucking sick.
Yeah,
you know.
And it's like, and I see it in like a lot of my close buddies. Like they're like trying to like start a business now, and then they're like as soon as I'm done with my ticket or whatever, like once I get my ticket, like help me with this and this and this. And it is crazy how word spreads because like I'm not even like special. Like I mean, people would probably look at me like that, like hear about money and all this, but it's a drop in the bucket and this is a tip of the iceberg. Like I don't even have a fraction of the knowledge to give someone that you could. But and it's people are still coming to me like it's nuts to me.
And dude, it's literally just a food chain, man. Like I know for a fact, like I probably know about like 2% of what I need to know to get to $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know? And so that if when you look at it as like your entire life, not just like, oh, I want to get to 1 million. It's like when you look at like a legit end goal, like what do you actually want to do? And I think like, yes, some people are going to be like, that is fucking crazy. Like this guy just said billion with a B, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I want to fucking be a billionaire. Dude, why not? Like, why would you not? Like, why would you just say, oh, let's just do 100 million?
Yeah. Like
why would you just say, let's just do $500 million? You know?
And that's the way I frame it is like, as soon as I sold my first $1 million, I was like, okay, that's 1 out of 100. And then once I hit that 100, it's 100. I would need 100 millions to get to $1 billion. And
yeah, I think the exact same way, right? Like think about it. Like, what the fuck does a skyscraper cost? Or like, let's just say a 30-story apartment building. Fuck does that cost?
Like-
let's just say 100 million.
Yeah, for round numbers.
Let's just say 100 million for round numbers. So you're telling me I only need to build fucking 10 apartment buildings in a year and I can do $1 billion?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's easy.
And on the low end, skate with 30% margins, 20% margin, especially as a GC. Like it just makes sense.
Like why would you not try and fucking do that? You know, like it just I understand too. Like I know we talk about this all the time, but there is different pain tolerances to what you can handle and the stress that you can handle.
Yeah.
Like I could imagine that building a skyscraper from the ground up probably causes you a lot of stress.
Stressful, yeah.
But at the same time, like just the more problems you solve, the more money you're gonna make, right? So why would you not just try and make all the fucking money?
Yeah. And it's pretty funny because it was like pretty laid out. Like I just didn't notice it before, but it was pretty laid out in front of me the whole time. And it didn't click because like I was doing door to door like when I was like a literal child, like selling like, you know, those rainbow loom bracelets.
Fuck yeah.
I think it's just ADHD thing. I always had to do something with my hands, but I'd make those just like I'd be watching TV making those bracelets. I had like tons of them. And me and my brother went door to door and sold them. People probably gave us money just feeling bad for us. But like, I think we walked with like $70 or $80 when we were like, I was probably like 5. And then me and like my best friend Nolan, like it was like a little bit before COVID, probably grade 9, door to door, snow removal. Just
we gotta get back, Nolan.
I know.
We gotta.
Soon.
We're gonna play.
I know he's watching
I know
this
he's
too.
gonna watch this. We're fucking coming for you, buddy. You know, he'll be back. He'll be back.
But like, and he'd be great at it. But like, we got like whatever four driveways that were just returning every time it snowed, and we'd make like $50 each before we went to school. And then also like where I lived, it was like I moved to like Clayton in London, and I saw that whole neighborhood go up start to finish, and I would always drive by that developer's house, and he's always got these cars out there. He's got the helicopter.
Is that the guy on the corner? You know the guy in the corner with the massive jacked up fucking orange truck? Who's that?
He's in the business too. So he
Yeah,
built
okay.
that. He built that home himself. He bought that lot, but behind Silverleaf.
Oh, Birchwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I see this guy flying his helicopter over my house. I'm sitting in my lounge chair, and I'm like, okay, like how do you do that? And that place right behind me, I walk in the door and I look right out, and it used to be a cornfield, and now it's tons of homes. I'm like, that's got to be pretty lucrative. And then that was like a big thing, like click too. I was like you came in my life, and I was like, okay, maybe this is my calling. Like,
So what about the opportunity originally? Like if you were a business owner and you had the knowledge that you have, like how would you try and approach somebody to do door to door for a business?
I just tell them my journey through it. Usually wins a lot of people over. And it's also like, okay, you're not doing anything with your life. You're not attached to anything. Or even if you're in university, take it as a summer position. Guaranteed you're going into university the next year being able to talk to at least double the amount of people that previously you would be able to talk to. It's a super valuable thing because a lot of people like frown on door to door, like, oh, you're a door to door salesman, all this stuff like comes with kind of a burden. But people don't understand it. It's like all I was trying to do out there was learn how to talk to every single character and take tons of rejection and grow that way. And I did, like, immensely. My speech improved, how I communicate with people improved, and then it just grows from there.
I also feel like it's not even just door to door; it's just sales in general has like
yeah.
a bad stigma with it. Why do you
it
think that
should.
is?
I think it's freaking car salesman. But nothing against car salesmen, but my dad's in the car business. I think they're seen as like sleazy, dishonest, everything like that. But that's why I don't even refer to myself as like a salesman majority of the time. It's like all I'm trying to do is help people and help people make the right decisions. Because I've told people in the past, like I knew I couldn't help someone, and I was like I genuinely can't help you, but I think you should go in this direction. And as soon as you treat it like more of a consulting position, and you're not just trying to hard sell, because if you're doing the right things and you're acting the right way, you won't have to hard sell anyone. I don't like hard selling people because it causes like buyer's remorse, and then
That's a big one.
The next day you wake up and they want their deposit back, and it's like, I've done it before, and I like, it's not worth your time to like go in and just like nag and hard sell, and then they'll just get their deposit back.
What is your pregame ritual? Like, what do you do
Before I
before
go
you
on
actually go in? Yeah, before you actually go into a closing, what does that look like?
Just visualize, like, I visualize really well with music, which I think it's a little bit different for you. Like, you kind of like the silence, or like a podcast. But usually, like, before I have music, but I'm still visualizing the conversation, the steps I'm going to take. As soon as I get in the door, set the agenda. And that really helps. And it's just like going in with like utmost confidence. Like, I'm the best and they need me. They contacted me for a reason, and I want to help them, and I want to do a great job for them. And that's like the passion that I go into homes with, and like the conviction that like just let me do your project and do a great job for you. Like, let me prove this. Like, people feel that off me, and then they're like, okay, let's give it a shot.
So before you actually started in sales, right? Or I guess getting started in sales, right? Door to door. What was your mindset like, and how has it changed to where you are now?
I guess, yeah, like in high school, I was always kind of like chasing the social gratification of like having like friends and like having parties and all that stuff, which it was just like, it was gratifying to me. Like I got a hit from it.
Yeah, from what I've heard from the boys, you were the host.
Yeah, my host was the host, and that was like, it was great. Like, it was a very fun time, and I will cherish it for the rest of my life. But you hit a point where you're like, okay, that literally gives me nothing, other than waking up early in the morning and cleaning puke and booze off my floors. Once I started getting into sales, don't get me wrong, you can still have friends, you can still go out, you can still have social, like I just got back from vacation. But it cuts down drastically, and everyone should do that. Everyone should tighten their circle. Don't have 20 people floating around in your life that you're like, oh, how much time do I give this person? How much time do I give this person? I want to hang out with this person. Waste of time. Have a set group of friends outside of work, and then have friends in work and build relationships with them. I get it. I'm lucky, and I'm kind of like, that's probably ignorant because a lot of people don't have the opportunity to work in a place that we do. But as soon as I start getting into sales, like, social time goes down, but you reap the benefits of it. And then you stop caring about what people think, what people have to say, because I just stopped taking advice, and I stopped listening to people. If they try to tell me anything about what I'm doing or business or work, they're not where I want to be. And then I just listen to the people who are where I want to be. And then
Smart.
That's a huge shift. Not taking jaded advice.
And that's actually huge that you said that, because I do feel like there's a lot of people that talk, and that actually there's a lot of people that talk the game, but it's like, you got to look at the resume. You can't just go off of what someone's telling you. What have they actually done? Like, what have they actually built?
Yeah.
You know, and you got to use that to your advantage, because most of the time, if someone's built something pretty fucking sick, it's going to be public to some degree. There's going to be an Instagram, there's going to be a fucking Facebook, there's going to be this, there's going to be something. You know, so I always feel like before you listen to someone's advice, go out and just vet them a little bit. You know, like, you don't have to go creep and figure everything out about them, but at the same time, make sure you're vetting the information that you're getting.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's like, yeah, people have no idea what's going on, like, behind closed doors. Like, we put in work, like and sometimes I talk to like even like family members or like people that I don't have like constant conversation with and don't know what I do on my day-to-day basis. And they're like, you're still doing door to door? and they kind of say it with like a smug look on their face.
Classic.
And I'm like, I haven't touched a door in a long time. Like we're actually doing something and building something crazy. And yeah, it's just like listening to those people just causes a cloud in your head that doesn't need to be there when you're always thinking about like, oh, what will this person say if I do this? Or like if I post this on my Instagram, what are people going to think? And it's just like...
Yeah, you just gotta not give a fuck, man. You gotta go into life knowing that you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and people are gonna talk shit all fucking day long. And at the end of the day, if you believe in what you're doing and you are putting all of your time and all of your effort in making something work for your life, that's a very fucking noble thing.
Yeah.
And people are either gonna respect it or they're not. And the people that don't respect that, you don't need those fucking people in your life. Because you need to be around the support. You need to have the people cheering you on. You need to get motivated by who you're around, right? You need people that are going to check you when you're out of line.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that in your life, man, like that is so fucking important. It's crazy, bro. And I remember too, dude, like I remember when I was fucking, 17, 18, smoking weed, drinking, shrooms. And I think most of us in here have legitimately gone through that. So I also feel like there was a time in my life, at least, where I was going through kind of that stage in my life. And obviously, I'm going to say this flat out. If you can avoid that stage, please avoid it. Yeah. But if you can't and you're going through that right now, it's not fucking impossible to get out, right? We got a lot of people in this room that have been out of that lifestyle and they used to live that way and they decided to get out. The only thing that you can do about it is change your life fucking today.
Yeah.
Don't fucking wait. Don't wait around, man. You got to move.
Yeah. And it's super hard, especially like from my high school experience. Like you just get sucked into all that crap.
It's crazy, bro.
Like getting high like in school consistently.
That's actually crazy. Were you getting high in school?
Oh yeah.
Oh
like,
fuck.
Oh, like I was blazed. Like, but I
heard Zach Nichols gets high in school too.
Yeah.
Zach Charles Nichols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's mentioned
He's
it
getting
to me,
fucking
a little bit of a
blazed
stoner
in school. Yeah. I'm gonna tell his mom.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just...
Oh, speaking of high school, on that note, me and the guy who I just mentioned, we were at a grad ceremony about 2-3 hours ago, okay? We're listening to the speech from the valedictorian, or however the fuck you say that word. I didn't pass English, okay? And we're listening to this speech, right? And there's a key thing that she says, and me and my brother both look at each other like, what the fuck? And what she said was, people are not meant to compete with each other. They're meant to connect with each other. And me and Zach both looked at each other and we were like, bro, fuck, we're going to have an easy way to the top at this point.
So we're winning.
We're fucking winning big, dude. That was just so fucking funny, bro. Because honestly, she did a great job. Like, she's a very good speaker, very talented speaker, clear speaking. But at the same time, unfortunately, this is not true.
Yeah, people are
this is not true.
People are just washed. Like, it's like all lovey-dovey and all this. But then I feel so bad for the people that are like they're getting probably like babied throughout university. Mom's like, how are you doing in school, honey? And they haven't touched a real job in their life or experienced the real world or like a real problem. Like maybe they have. Like maybe I'm like being a little bit. But for the most part, as far as like a career-based thing goes, like such a rude awakening. Because like I'm dealing with the issues now, and I'm like, man, like if people like are coming out like 27 and they've been drinking for 4 years, 6 years straight, and like they're gonna be like, holy smokes. And then I also feel like I'm also very lucky, and I realize that, very grateful. But the more time you spend in school, the closer you are, like you get smushed because you're gonna get out of university, say 26, 24, depending when you start, and then you're trying to find a significant other, or you have one and she wants a baby, or he wants a baby, and then it's like, okay, where do you live? And then you get screwed on a mortgage and your house broke, and then you land yourself a big time $60,000 a year job. Big time. And then you have maybe
huge money, 60,000.
Yeah, people will be fine. Like people will turn out just fine. Like $100,000 a year is perfect for a lot of people, but for us, like that's like.
Well, bro, like this is the thing that's crazy to me, right? Humans are literally designed to compete.
But since the start of
since the beginning of
man.
time.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of time, it's always been a competition for fucking land, currency at the time, fucking spices, food, women, everything.
Yeah.
Everything is legitimately a competition. And so when me and Zach heard that, I was just laughing, bro. I was like, "Fuck, bro, we're gonna have an easy way to the top."
The competition is thin.
You know, or it got a little bit easier that day at least. You know, but I find that fucking good. That was fucking funny.
Yeah, and it's like I don't like to harp on school because like I was a big supporter of school for a very long time. But like I see like 5 majors as like, okay, you're like, that's a good choice. Like
For sure.
Like finance, in some cases business, but still like kind of disagree with
business.
that. Like law, medical, or trades. Like those are the ones I can agree with. Like, yeah, go get your ticket. And then,
Honestly, if you're in business school, dude, I will sit you down with a couple different guys and I will teach you everything that you need to know in 1 week.
yeah. That's why I also like, I think it was a click too once I kind of learned about Justin's story and him dropping out. Is like he smushed his education and he figured it out within 2 years and he didn't need all these extra years. And now he has the biggest painting franchise in London. And it's like, okay, so you like, I'm not going to sit there and listen to someone for 4 years straight who doesn't even have grasped the idea of owning a business.
100%.
But yeah, like don't feel bad if you're in a major. At the same time, just look at different options. So.
Yeah, so I know, like, we always talk about this too, right? Like, how much we're working and all that stuff. My mindset around that, to be honest, is if I can work 16 hours a day, let's just say, right? We have a light day, 16 hours. But if I can work 16 hours a day, which is typically double the amount that an average person works, I think I can get double the amount done in half the time. You know,
Yeah.
like I that's what I believe. Whether that's actually true, like whether I'm actually that effective for a straight 16 hours, I don't fucking know. I like to believe I'm effective, but at the same time, I know that balance in my perspective is looking at it on a scale of a lifetime. But I want to know, like, how do you actually think about balanced lifestyle? What does that actually mean to you?
Yeah, because me and you like differ in opinions a little bit there.
For sure.
And like that's fine. Like I still work a ton of hours.
Oh, for sure.
But I carve out more time than you do. But you're also like you're running the whole show. Because like I'm big into like having someone early and wanting to spend life with that person. So you need to dedicate time into that and give that attention. It is a very hard battle of like constantly balancing like I need to do all this stuff and then my significant other wants to hang out with me on the weekend, but I have a dozen appointments scheduled and she's not going to be happy. And also like family, like I'm lucky enough to still have both my parents together and on earth. And like I think that was also like seeing you lose your father was like, okay, I need to like
Spend some more time with the family.
like, because you'd never know when or where it can happen. And I would hate that I'm like coming off like 100-hour work week and all of a sudden like something terrible happens. And I'm like, for the rest of my life, I'm thinking like, man, like I spent all my time at work when I could have just spent my last time with someone that I love.
And the crazy thing is too, you don't even know. You have no idea.
Yeah.
It could happen tomorrow, a year from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
It's all a guessing game.
It's true.
And it like you can't let that like bury you because work still needs to get done. As far as leisure goes, like I try to balance it very much like work heavy. At the same time, like I wanted to go on vacation, I just let you know ahead of time, and I made sure I fit my month of work and before I left, and it was fine. And then you're right back at it, and even like you, like we still go, like we're gonna go to Arizona, where we do those things. You sent me to Arizona, and like those are good things to do still. But yeah, I think if in this business, you should be working like 70 hours a week
For sure.
to be ahead of the competition and stay ahead of the competition and get all your work done. because that's the thing, like both like mine and your positions, our operations manager's position, like you go into the day with a plan and you think it's going to be
Or your plan gets fucked instantly.
instantly 9 a.m, kicked in the teeth, and then
Dude, right away, you get fucking knocked out. 9 a.m.
and then you're like, okay, here we go again. But it's exhilarating.
That's why for me, like especially in the building stage, like we're going through a massive change
yeah.
right now. So it takes a lot of time and effort and infrastructure to be able to handle that change. So right now, like realistically, bro, we're working and just basically problem solving from fucking like 8 a.m. to like 5 p.m. And then from 5 p.m. till 2 a.m., that's where the actual work gets done.
Yeah.
That's where the actual shit gets done, man. And that's literally what it takes in my mind to actually build shit. Because if you're only willing to put in like 8 hours a day to something, dude, there's just no way you're going to be better than somebody who's willing to put 16 or 18 or 20.
Because they're out there.
They're out there, bro. And I say this all the time, but I'm so fucking fearful that there's somebody out there right now, maybe our age, maybe a little bit older, younger, who's working
1 extra hour.
1 extra fucking hour. Because that 1 extra hour might not matter today, but it's going to matter next year.
Yeah.
When he has 365 hours ahead of us. You know? And so that's something where I legit take that to heart, bro. And I'm like, I cannot let anybody outwork me.
Yeah, and it's changed because before, like, we didn't really have, like, I didn't really work too late, like, or if I was working late, I was working at home. But then now it's like, especially when like we started like making that shift and like we need to produce more or everything like that. It's like I'd sit at that drawing board for days, and like what we've been doing pretty much, like we sleep at the office sometimes, everything like that, and that's what it takes, like you go to bed next to the fire and you wake up in the fire, and then like always being connected to work, like that's just kind of the lifestyle. And that's all for the hope that in 20 years from now, and every business owner says it, it's like you're going to miss out on things, you're going to sacrifice tons of stuff, but once you're through that 20 years, then you're in a position where you can have the freedoms that you dreamed of your whole life.
I just can't wait for the time where like we're in the office and we get a call from one of our skyscrapers, one of our 25 skyscrapers that we have on the go, and something goes terribly wrong and we got to we're like, holy fuck, bro. I don't know what to choose right now, the Lambo or the McLaren. What's faster? How do we get there quicker, you know? And so that is the day when we got to go to the skyscraper site and we got to deal with fucking shit there. And we're trying to figure out what supercar is going to get us there quicker. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, and that's, you just see it develop over time of like the issues you deal with day to day. It's like a year ago, my issue was showing up on time for my restaurant job and then hitting doors for 4 hours. And I didn't want to because I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. Those were my issues. But now, and then when you open up, you take the blinders off and then you're like, okay, my problems now are a lot more important, and it feels kind of good.
And your problems next year are going to be even bigger.
Yeah, so
it's just keep getting bigger and bigger, man.
Because the bigger the problems, the more you know you're doing something right. So
I know,
and it's just like it's the nature of the business too. Like we're in a tough business where like especially dealing with homeowners, like things never go smoothly, and it's always one thing after the next.
There's a lot of moving parts. Like there's a lot of aspects to this business. And I like to think that it's probably really not a lot of businesses who operate the way we do because we have so many different people doing so many different things, right? To actually make a product go, right? Like make the project go. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many different steps and there's such a workflow to it that building that workflow out it was tough, but now like we have the best fucking workflow in the city to get from point A to point B.
And I believe that's my... Like,
well, there was a company, I'm not going to say the company, but there was a company that went out to Cobb's house, right?
Yeah.
Cobb's house, and guys got an appointment at fucking 6 p.m., right? No call before at all. Like, no call. It was literally just like, fucking book some shit online, hope somebody shows up, and then buddy doesn't even fucking show up. Crazy, bro.
And I was there when Cobb set the appointment with him.
Yeah, crazy.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, no problem, we'll be there." And this is like one of the most popular companies in London.
Yeah,
And
very,
it's-
very good, strong branding too.
yeah, like
And they've been
it's-
around.
Yeah, and you dropped the ball. Like Cope would, if you like, you could have sold Cope on a better renovation, I bet. But
But that's the competition that we're up against, right? Which realistically, like that's not even we're not even
Yeah.
playing the same league.
yeah, and I think that's like we've tapped into like a different type of system that is kind of like not exposed. Like it's only companies that really have TL and all this that can implement these systems. And I think a bunch of businesses are just kind of guessing at it. Sure, they could have been in business longer, but it could take them 2 decades to develop these systems that we've developed in a year.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking crazy, bro. Real quick, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you think, like looking back on your life from like right now to where you were, do you think like how much money would you have put down on a bet to say that you would be here 3 years in the past? Like 3 years in the past, if you were looking at your future and someone came up to you, some fucking Wizard of Oz type guy comes up to you and is like, yo, you're actually going to be a fucking massive contributor to this fucking construction company. You're going to be the fucking best estimator. Like, what would you even fucking believe him?
No. At the same time though, like I knew I was gonna be
Sick.
yeah. Like growing up, like I knew like people just had different mindset than me when it came to money, when it came to like what you want from life. Like I knew when I was a little kid that I wanted sick cars, sick house, sick watches. Like I knew about like watches and stuff like when I was like before like preteens.
Bro, do you remember the fucking, what is it called? Scholastic Book Fair? Bro, that's where I got my first
And
McLaren poster.
The posters, yes.
I got my first McLaren poster at that fucking book fair in public school.
Yeah. And yeah, like I always just knew that like there was something a little bit different. Like I was always just, like entrepreneurial, but I never really had the vehicle, and this is now the vehicle to get, hate to say it, filthy rich, but yeah, it's crazy like how things like, and I think it's just like me thinking about it literally my whole life was like me manifesting it, like ever since I was like literally 7 years old, and all I could think about is like how do I like get this stuff.
Dude, I'm the exact same way. I remember literally trying everything under the sun. Legit.
T-shirt
Everything.
brands, like all
Everything, dude. And my first business was Lift Kings.
yeah.
It was a t-shirt brand, bro. And that shit fucking failed hard.
until you relaunch it, and then it's
Yeah, exactly. Until I relaunch it, have a little bit more viewership, you know. We'll come out with
Yeah.
it. It'll be good shit.
And yeah, that's the thing is, and that's something I never saw before in you, and it blew my mind. Is like your average person like has the knowledge, and then action is way over here, and like that's like 95% of the population that like they'll learn something or they'll watch a cool video and they're like, man, like I wish I could do that, and the action is just like so spread apart. With you, and now it's replicated in myself and like everyone in the business is like knowledge here, action here, and you just smush it together, and it's like you learn something, then you
Implement it.
yeah
Right away.
act on it.
And that's actually a great point to bring up, because I do feel like a lot of people, actually a ton of people, 99% of the people, in fact, are literally listening to the podcast. They're doing the right stuff in terms of what they're putting in their brain, right? Maybe they're going to cold plungers, they're manifesting, or going to the gym or whatever. But at the same time, all that stuff is totally fucking useless if you don't act upon what you know.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to act upon what you know, then don't expect a different outcome, you know, because you got to have the balls really to take that knowledge and figure out how you can utilize it in real life. Otherwise, you may as well just fucking play GTA.
Yeah, and it's just fairy dust.
Fairy dust.
Yeah.
Like, you may as well just play GTA, fucking do a little car duplicate fucking thing. You remember that back in the day? Yeah. Fucking duplicate your cars, go sell them, and fucking live that life, you know?
And run a business there.
Yeah, run a business in GTA.
Because it's easy.
Exactly, right? Where like, unfortunately, real life is a little bit more complex than GTA. You know?
It's takes a little bit more time, and that's and you stress that too. Is like it's not get rich quick. Like it still might take a decade. Like
Dude, that's the crazy part, bro, is like we're doing all this shit and like I can't 110% on my fucking life guarantee when it's gonna. I know it will happen. I have no doubt about that. I'll fucking bet my life on that. But I don't know when,
Yeah,
you know?
it could be next year.
But like we were talking about today, the definition of patience.
Yeah.
Finding what to do in the meantime while you wait.
Yeah,
And it's just like, okay, well, let's do as much as we possibly can in the meantime while we wait. And funny enough, typically that stuff that you're doing while you wait is the stuff that's going to get you to where you want to go.
and you just don't know yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't really fucking act. They just listen, right? They're like, what the fuck does Andy Frisella say? Success zombies. Success zombies. They just fucking watch all this shit, take all this shit in, listen to all the podcasts, read all the books. You know, they're putting on their story, oh my God, I got 60,000 books. You know what I mean? And he's driving a fucking 2003 Toyota Corolla going to fucking McDonald's because he's got a shift in it fucking 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
And like who knows, like those might, like a lot of those people, it might just come later, and we're
For sure, dude,
like,
for sure.
Like
I'm just saying, you got to fucking utilize the shit.
yeah, because
You know?
I would hate to get my first $1 million when I'm like 40. Like
I know. Fuck
That's
that.
just
That's boring.
yeah,
It's boring, bro.
and that's what I think is so warped. And don't get me wrong, like it's a smart play. Like if you want to retire with $1.5 million in your high yield retirement account, then knock your socks off. But like, and this is the difference between like young guys that are, because you see all these rich young guys and you're like wonder how you do it. But it's like that's the mindset you need to have is like, I don't want $1.5 million and I want $1.5 million like next year.
Like reoccurring monthly.
Yeah, and like yeah, scale.
Exactly. Like that's the thing too, where it's like you got to look at like what type of life do you want to live? Who do you want to be? And then figure out what you got to do to get there, you know? Like I always think that the vision of your life has to become the main priority, you know? And the money will just follow that. Right? And so when you actually look at your life and you write out a vision, right? Like you see my vision board, I've got a vision board up there. And when you write that out, I feel like it's a very powerful thing because then you have a destination. You know, like maybe some streets are going to be closed that you didn't know about, or maybe you're going to have to fucking go back the way you came for a fucking couple kilometers and come up some different way. But nonetheless, you actually have a destination. You actually know where you're going.
Yeah.
And when you have that, that's so fucking powerful for the mind because that's what's going to keep you motivated and fucking disciplined in the meantime while you do the action, while you wait,
Yeah.
you know?
And and just having a goal, like, and make that goal extreme. Like your long-term goal should be as extreme as possible, like $1 billion.
Well, bro, I have, like, here's my fucking wallet, bro. Look at this. I have this literally on my wallet. It stays with me. I look at this every day. This old piece of shit fucking card. I have $4 million in revenue. It's all fucking fucked up, but $4 million in revenue for Powerhouse 2025.
Yeah.
Then on the other side, I have the only easy day was yesterday.
And it just stays there. And I think mine is, yeah, in my wallet, I have the card of, like every time I open up my wallet, I see it. And it's $250,000 liquid, which would be like my commission if I sell 5 million.
That's fire.
And that's like, we're on pace. So
Fuck yeah.
like, it's crazy. Like, and it's happening so fast, like month by month. It just like the momentum's there, which we can touch on that too. Momentum's huge.
Well, how do you feel about momentum?
Oh, it's so powerful. Like,
In what way?
just like, I think like momentum goes hand in hand with like consistency and persistency, because if you have those, momentum will follow. And especially in sales, like if you do one close, then and you have a stack of 6 appointments, and then you hit the first one, and then you treat every single one after that, guarantee you'll hit 4 of them. Just because your mindset going into those appointments is like, okay, I did it this time, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. And it's just the repeating of it and winning them is creates it, and then it just follows into the next month. And that's tough about sales, and like I've been in them. Like when you're in a drought, like it sucks. But then when you get out of it, then it just starts right
rolls.
back up again.
And that's one thing too why I fucking love like the Andy Frisella power list, where it's like you're writing 5 critical tasks to get done every day. Like that shit's fucking awesome because like when you really think about it, that's just 5 really mini goals to get to a bigger fucking goal. And so when you have your task list, right, and sometimes, right, he calls it the power list, but it's basically just 5 tasks that must be done before you close your eyes at that night, right? And so now, like some days, bro, my fucking task list is 20 fucking things long, right? But at the end of the day, what that does is that starts to build that momentum because after you do 2-3 weeks of crossing off 5 things a day from the power list, you're going to be like, damn, okay, I got some fucking momentum moving, right? And that's how you actually build it, by doing things.
Yeah.
You actually got to go out there and you actually got to do some shit.
Like cross it off the list.
Exactly. Cross it off the list, dude. And I want to find my book because I have a book. The first time I did 75 hard when I was like in the fucking trenches, dude. Like that was when I was like working my other job doing this. Anyways, I have a book, and the whole time I was doing 75 hard, I was also doing that power list. And like physical book, not notes, physical book, right?
Like
so it actually
writing it
gives you
down.
the gratification of actually scratching this off, being like, I fucking did this.
Yeah.
And that is so fucking powerful for momentum, is constantly be doing stuff, constantly be hitting your small daily tasks or your small daily goals. And when you can do that, you're just going to be working yourself higher to that collective goal, whatever that may be, or that final destination.
Yeah.
But that's how you're going to build it. That's the way to build it, is by getting shit done every fucking day.
And going task to task, like it is a hard thing to do. And it's like, even like I do the same thing. Like if I have a fried day and I don't even know where to start, like first thing I do in the morning, rip out a page, pin it on my wall, and it's like full page of tasks to do. And then you just go through it. If it takes you till midnight, it takes you to midnight.
Well, I can't remember there's a book that I fucking listened to on Audible, and I think it's called Deep Work. Pretty sure that's the book. But he refers to something as dead space. And what he calls that is basically the time in between task A and task B. That's called dead space. So what is your transitional time costing you? Is it 15 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? Is it an hour? You know what I mean? So that dead space, if you can minimize that dead space, the time between tasks, right, you could buy back a lot of your time, right? You could earn back a lot of your time. But being able to watch that and be efficient in watching that time is actually fucking really hard. It actually is, like, for me at least, it's really hard because like
100%.
shit's going on in the background
All over the place.
100%. You're solving problems here. This guy's calling you. This guy's calling you. This guy needs something. This guy wants money. This guy wants fucking your time. This guy needs this. And it's just like, okay, now I got to get back to my fucking list. What am I doing here? You know?
Yeah, refocus.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so once you get back to that list, you look at your phone, fuck, dude, it could have been an hour, 2 hours, you know? So that's something where in the beginning, for me, it was a lot easier to minimize the dead space. I definitely could do a better job now even, but in the beginning, it was a lot easier because there was just less people that needed your attention, right? And partially, like, the problem in having that is just systems. Like, I know that systems, if I just build in enough systems, you just build enough layers between you and whoever is calling you, then you got to call this person's got to ask this person, then it gets to you, you know, or whatever, right? And there was one guy that fucking Justin and I, we went to PaintCon last year in California. And when we were there was a dude there who spoke, and that was one thing that he was like legitimately known for, was like actually building layers between him and fucking everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to call his fucking assistant, and then it just fucking follows up the chain. And if all 3 fucking assistants or whatever it was check off, then the call's getting through.
Yeah.
But if it's not, it's not, you know?
Yeah. And that's like, we're getting there. Like now I've seen it kind of change. Like you getting less random phone calls and like really only like it's me, ops, that you answer, like you actually spend time with. And the sales guys, like you're here in the building. So it,
For sure.
it helps. And
Well, I fucking love sales. It's my passion for sure.
and that's the thing is like I think that was your biggest thing. Like you wanted to like build the layers on tools so you can be so embedded into the sales, which is what keeps the tools going.
Exactly. Sales is legitimately the bloodline to a business.
Everything, and that's why like sales should not have a bad aura around it, just because every business,
Every
sales.
single business on planet Earth needs sales.
It don't matter. Like
Yeah.
I guarantee like the average person got sold a dozen times today. Tim Horton sold you something.
100%, right? And even though now, I guess now's a good time to define sales. I was on the door-to-door call, and this guy says to me, right? Some of you guys might fucking find this pretty funny, but guy's like, bro, I'm really having a lot of trouble with, like, when they say no, I don't want to be pushy, so I just say okay. And I'm like, okay, so you're basically a fucking order taker, and you're gonna get 1A lead for every 100 doors. You know what I mean? So, like, you got a fucking issue here, buddy. You know, like, we got to fucking change this around. And so he was brand fucking new too, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, so, all right, let's go through it, right? B lead, C lead, right? Go through the objection handling. And that right there is really a fucking key difference. It's like when you go to the grocery store, the clerk's not really selling you the apples.
Because you're already sold.
You're already sold. You already know what you want. You go in there and fucking get it. You know, where sales is like an actual interdynamic skill that requires you to talk to people in a certain way to help them make an effective decision on what they need to do.
Yeah. And and all it takes is like 3 questions.
I know.
3 good questions, and they're all of a sudden on the side of like they're selling themselves. If you ask the right questions in a conversation when you're trying to sell a big ticket item or whatever it is, and you ask the right 3 questions, they will automatically answer their it for you. Just no one's asked them the question before. So
What do you think is the most important part of a sales system? Like, if you could just say one thing, what part of a sales system do you think is the most crucial?
yeah, that's hard. Probably that questions, and that's like you put your boot on my throat when I stopped doing that. Because like we're looking at all these transcripts and it's like you ask like these random ass questions that don't mean anything, and then when you make the shift and you actually focus on what you need
Shout
to
out to Rilla though. That's probably one of the best fucking investments ever.
Yeah. And a big investment too, but it pays itself off when it works, right? So
Exactly.
and you implement it. That's the biggest thing I'd say. Also, like, it's a perfect balance of that and, like, just being likable. Like, people want to talk to you. Like, people aren't, like, kicking you out of their house. And that's why, like, I try to be as presentable as possible. And that's, like, what I try to show the other guys, too, is, like, this is why I dress this way. And this was...
Well, half the time you're in a fucking, like, 5-piece suit.
Yeah, like, I wear a suit. Like, almost, like, probably...
With the tie and shit.
Majority, like, and I like, sometimes, like, if I know, like, if it's a closing appointment and like I probably wore something like this, and they react good to it, and like, and I asked like a few people this, like just like family, friends, and stuff of like, would you rather like you're looking to do something crazy to your home? Would you rather speak to someone who dresses the way I do, or is in a suit, for an example, or like just a nice polo, all that stuff? Or like someone who looks like he just got off a job site and is on the tools, and they're like 100% all day, the attire that you wear. And I know that there's like differing opinions, and I've tried both. Like I've tried wearing normal clothes. I have big days in normal clothes too. Like it's not a deciding factor, but it's all about how you present yourself. And as like, also I think it was at least how my brain went about it is like I'm young and people can tell I'm young. And I need to give them every single reason to take me so serious. Because I walk in home sometimes and they're like, you can't handle this. Like, you look like you just graduated grade 8. And I'm like, yeah, just wait a minute. And then you get into it, and then they're all of a sudden they end up buying something from you.
And that's one thing too that I actually like about having like younger sales reps, because it actually just pushes you to be way better. Because
100%.
Instead of relying on like your age or relying on your appearance, like whatever, like you don't have a fucking full beard.
Experience.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time you looked in the mirror was, but you don't have a full beard yet,
Barely even stubble.
So with that being said, you now gotta be the most knowledgeable motherfucker that you can possibly be to then win these people over and be like, holy shit, okay, this guy actually does know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe we should fucking listen to this.
Yeah.
And so what is your mindset around that right there? Like that thought of people knowing that you're a fucking young guy and having to actually make up for it, right? With knowledge, right? With the way that you carry yourself, with how you speak.
Yeah. It took a lot of time to get to the point where I'm like really fluent with, because you know me, like I haven't done manual labor ever, really, other than flipping fries. And it's like just dedicating yourself to learning what you're selling to a degree that the people who have been doing it for 30 years think they know everything and they're all brushed up on everything, but they're not training and they're not dedicated to it, like watching it every day on like how to do this. And it makes a big difference. And also like it's a breath of fresh air too, because especially the people who have had bad experiences with contractors, which is often, they'd much rather give someone younger the opportunity if they got screwed over by someone that was much older and should have been very capable. And I just try and give them every single reason in the world to like install their trust in me. Because, and I tell people, I'm like, yeah, like I'm young and like I've been doing this for, like I say, 2 years. I've been doing this for 2 years. Like, but at the same time is like, because of that, I have to be so dedicated to what I do and taking care of you and making sure your home's taken care of at the same time, making sure your process is smooth as possible. And I warn people, like, stuff always pops up, but it's how you react to problems and how you solve problems.
Great point.
And then they're like, okay, yeah, like this kid's got a point. And then it really is like, I feel like it's always like a leap of faith for the homeowners, no matter which way they go. Like they're gambling on who to give this project to. And if you go in and give them every single reason, that's my biggest thing, is like giving them every reason to not say no.
Have you ever had a day where you're like, fuck, bro, I don't know if this is for me?
Yeah, a few times when I first started training. Because that was like...
When was that, September?
Yeah, like when I first started training, like when I kind of went out on my own. But then again, I was selling like right off the bat. Like the first appointment I went to alone, I sold. That's when I was like, okay, like I can do this. I think it was more when I started training Zach to be estimating, because I was like leadership and like you're trying to, your brain's so scrambled because you're trying to sell the job and at the same time show them exactly what to do. And you're so hard on yourself because you want to be perfect, because you want the next estimator to be perfect or better than you. And that's when I was like, oh, like, do I just stay an estimator? Do I tell Tyler that like this whole leadership's not like meant for me? Like I'm just meant to go out and sell like a pit bull. But then like Zach started producing, and then I went like back to back with Andrew. Andrew caught on pretty quick, and they're still learning. But that was a big, like for me, like 60 days straight of like every day. And when you wake up to when you go to bed, you're just trying to install knowledge into other people.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, like that's when I was like, I really appreciate like what you do, because like you do a great job at it, and it's like that's a hard skill to learn. And then you're like teaching me all this leadership.
Well, one of the most powerful skills in the world is being able to transfer skills from one human to another.
And it's how you delegate.
Yeah, and it's fucking hard sometimes. You know, it really is, and that's part of being a leader, bro. Because at the end of the day, I mean, just like we were talking with Jay not too long ago, it's like when shit hits the fucking fan, you're going to have all eyes on you. And you're going to be responsible for all of those eyes looking back. And you got to decide what you're going to do for the greater good of everybody. You know? And sometimes people aren't going to fucking like it. You know? But at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about the herd rather than one fucking guy's feelings.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how I've always been. I got to take care of everybody as a collective. So I need to make choices based off of the collective, not myself, not
Or
one
a
guy.
singular person.
No, it can't happen like that, dude, because you would just never get anywhere, right? Because you would try and take into account this guy's feelings, and then because you did that, this guy's going to be hurt. Now he's bitching at him, and he's
spreads like
bitching at you.
wildfire,
Exactly, right?
gossip, and
Where it's just honestly, it's easier to. I also think though, when you make critical decisions, as long as you have a reason on why it's going to be good for everybody, and you're saying it with conviction, and you truly believe that what you just did was actually good for the collective, I feel like that also helps too.
Yeah.
Like you also got to believe in your calls, right? You can't just be making fucking calls and not knowing if they're good or not. Like you got to, whatever your fucking shit is, like pick your choice and roll with that, you know? Because you're going to either learn something or it's going to be the right call.
Yeah, and that was a big thing that I just learned recently, and it clicked as soon as like projects I was kind of iffy on the quote, like, did I do this right? And I didn't, and it could have honestly be bitten in the ass months ago. And then like you take a step back, and that's what I like told myself, and I don't even think I've said this to you, but it's like when I mess up on like those 2 or 3 big jobs, and it's like that affected because of my mistake, like that affected tons of people down the line. And I realized that like the cause of that was from the money. Like I wanted the money. Like making those bad calls on negotiations and everything like that is like I wanted to skate with my $3,000 or whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, I ended up getting that $5,000 or $6,000 pulled from me, rightfully so. And like that's like direct consequence that you just have to deal with. And then,
But if you never made the mistake, you might have never learned it.
exactly. So now I know, and for all future reference, and I learned it early at 19 years old to like think of like we're at a size of a company now that if I make a mistake because it starts with me or it starts with the sales rep and goes all the way down the line, and if it gets to the end of the line and people are literally getting tortured for my mistake, like I feel like shit. Like so that was a big turning point as well of
how did you, like, when did you come to the realization that like your decisions actually trigger a fucking huge domino effect, both positive and negative? Like when was that realization of like, holy fuck, like I got to make sure I'm tight?
I think as pretty much as soon as like job starting and produced, like
Yeah.
because like I was like, man, I typed this document up and now this person's house is torn to the studs. And I walk in there to have a meeting with them, and like we're like literally crammed because they had to move everything in their house to the other side of their home, and we're like sitting on a couch with boxes all around us, and they're like this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right. Your tools on this side, all like just a chain reaction. And then it's like I was always like good with taking responsibility with clients
For sure.
and like just being like yes, like completely valid. Like that's what you got to do is you just got to let them vent. I completely understand. And then if you don't even have a solution, don't say a solution. Just say like I'm gonna tackle this right away for you. And people respect that. Like people really like when they're not just like going in circles with people and like it actually like their words were listened to, which is a big thing because a lot of stuff gets said, especially when you're dealing with these huge main floor projects where there's so many moving parts and so many things were said and he said, she said, but it's my job to listen to everything and get everything dialed in. And yeah, nature of the business.
Fucking right, dude. Okay, so I want to ask you one last question here before we wrap up. Where do you imagine not only yourself but this business to be 365 days from now?
From now,
So we'd be fucking June 13th, 2026.
we'll have our first new build, guaranteed. We'll have at least 4 commercial projects, which I think we don't count your chickens before they hatch, but we just submitted that big bid, which is looking promising, but you can never count your chickens.
Know.
So yeah, breaking into the commercial space, doing probably by next summer, we're probably hopefully like stable at like if we're doing lower than $1 million a month, we're pissed. Like I want to be like 3 million a month, because you're dealing with higher ticket stuff and then it just flows in. Probably 2 more estimators. I've moved into more of management and just taking the bigger jobs because that's valuable as well of having that like a manager for sales, a good one. Trade pool, 50 guys at least, if not 100. Keep things going.
And what do you think about like for you personally? Where do you see yourself 1 year from now?
I'll have my first property. If I'm living in it, if I'm renting it, don't really care because you can, when you're making a lot, you can kind of delegate. Have a truck, new truck.
Nice.
I'll have my first Rolex
Fucking
soon,
right.
actually, sooner than, well, hopefully for the fall, I'm thinking.
Fuck yeah.
Because, yeah, I think I have like, what would that math be? 700,000 more to go for that Rolex spiff. I'd have to dive into the numbers.
That'll be next month.
Yeah, hopefully. And then, yeah, I want to see all the estimate. Yeah, I'm just going to the other people, not myself.
That's a good leader right there.
I want probably, well, like my commission goal for this year is $250,000, and I got like a lot of money to go, but that's the way she goes. Hopefully next year, like I've broken into like 300,000 a year, if not higher. And being smart with my money, because the more you make, the more you spend. I learned that very fast. So yeah, having good investments, everything maxed out. And that's crazy. I'm even saying that, like I'd be 20 making 300,000 a year. Like that's stupid.
Well, I mean, you do the work that makes most fucking millionaires, you know? So
Yeah.
you'd expect nothing less.
The luck of the Irish.
That's it.
And yeah, like I feel like at the same time, like I put in the work to kind of deserve the benefits of that.
And what do you think about the team? How do you think the team will look 1 year from now? Sales team.
Sales team, I want all the estimators, so that'd be 5 estimators, not including myself. All of them, I want to be doing $250,000 a month minimum, if not more. So just got to make sure the lead flow's there. And then I want, like, we're going to probably have a new office by then. Probably 5 people in the office every day on calls, 2 setters, because we have so much to set, like full-time setters. And then probably like, it's hard with doors because you don't want to have too much of a door team because you can make sloppy hires. And then like, that's like people going out every day advertising for your company.
For sure.
I think every estimator needs at least 2 door-to-door guys under them. So that's 10 door-to-door guys, who can also be people calling. So that's like almost like 20 people on the sales side.
It's a big fucking team, dude.
Huge team. And then that's like, I want to help as many people as I can get to the position I'm at, because like I saw what I can do in a year. So that means anyone can do, like, I'm nothing special. Like I promise, like anyone can do what I do. And because $250,000 a month is 10 grand a month commission or more, depending. So if I have a bunch of my buddies making 10 grand a month, if not more, in a year from now,
that's fire.
It'd be a pretty cool thing to do. So
fucking right, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on. That was a fucking dope one. See you, brother.
Thank you, all you lovely people.